But ladies and gentlemen, Felicia White from the Great Christmas Light Fight. I was telling them when I first asked you to do this, you're overseas, you're across the pond filming for a different show. You're on hiatus from the Great Christmas Light Fight. So, for those that don't know, who are you and what do you do?
Yeah, hi. Thanks for having me. I am Felicia Aaron White. I am an executive producer on the Great Christmas Light Fight. I am a freelance producer, so that means I work on lots of different shows. However, the Great Christmas Light Fight is by far the longest show I've ever worked on. We have just completed 10 seasons and are looking to ramp up our 11th.
Now, I'm curious, how did you get into the entertainment business and into producing? How did you get into that career as a career choice?
Yeah. Um, my mom says that when we moved to Los Angeles when I was 4, I said I want to be in movies. I guess it's just been in my blood for a long time. But I was really blessed to grow up around a lot of creative people. And so when I went to school, I studied film and I wanted to make documentaries. And then I stumbled into game shows totally by accident. And I love them. And I really love working with regular, normal people and helping them succeed in whatever they want to do, whether it's win money on a game show or make amazing Christmas lights. So, yeah, I found my home in game shows.
And the Great Christmas Light Fight does both. If you win, you get a little bit of money, right? Who hates free money? Right? So for
No,
those who don't know, they're tuning in 5 years from now. They don't know what's going on. Can you tell the folks what the Great Christmas Light Fight is?
absolutely. So, The Great Christmas Light Fight is a show on ABC and now Hulu. You can stream it on Hulu. And every episode, we take 4 amazing families who contribute beautiful and over the top displays on their homes. They could be static traditional light displays or synchronized light shows. And we show what they do every year for their community. And then our judges go and visit those 4 families, and they give one of them $50,000, a trophy, and the amazing honor to be a champion on our show. So it's all lighthearted. It's not a fierce competition. We don't pin them against each other. It's about showcasing what these wonderful families do for their communities.
Very cool. Show started way back in 2013, right? But there is no COVID, there was no recession, there's no nothing back then. It was good times. Now, when you got on the show, did you think this is going to last at least 10 seasons, and that would in fact turn into what is considered the Super Bowl, Christmas light hobbyists? Did you think that this would have this kind of trajectory as a show?
I don't think any of us really did. We knew that we were bottling lightning because Christmas displays on YouTube were really soaring at that point. So we knew that there was something in the air with Christmas lights and that people wanted to watch them. And so we threw this together, and it was the little Christmas show that could.
Very nice. Now you talk about the different families, and you don't put them against each other. But what do you look for in a display to get it on the show? Is there anything that sticks out? Any keys? Any like boxes that need to be checked or anything?
Yeah. So we always encourage people to be true to who they are and what they do. So we don't want people to change everything that they do just to be on the show. What we'd rather see them do is really emphasize what makes them special. So, if you're a static light show, and you say kind of have a theme, we love themes. We encourage people to go into that theme, lean into the theme, and really make it shine. If they are doing pixel displays, it's how can we see it in a form that we've never seen it before? So it's all about being true to who they are, but also being unique and standing out, and then taking everything, of course, as extreme as they can afford or want to. It is their home.
Yes, there's some on there that I'm just like, how do you get in your garage? My wife hates it when we got the line and she can't get in the garage coming home from the grocery store or what have you. You talk about there's tons of us that do it. It is, I personally think, as a result of your show, the Christmas light hobbyist is just kind of skyrocketing. It's blowing up. There was actually a pixel shortage over the last 18 months. So what, I guess what the question is, well, first of all, that's a good question. I'm going to kind of sidebar here real quick, a little bit. Has the Pixel Light computer chip shortage, has that affected the show at all in the amount of contestants you get at all?
I have noticed that people are ordering their parts much, much earlier than they ever have before. And sometimes they don't get things in time and they have to pivot their plans for the show. So I think it does affect people. However, generally, you are already good enough to be on the show if we're putting you on. So if they'll be fine. They have creative solutions. Just to go back to your other point, though, for a moment about the blocking the garages or the driveways. Yeah. It's something really interesting is that most of our contestants, oftentimes they leave a blank driveway, which works for their day-to-day life, but doesn't look good for our show. So we always encourage them, at least just for the time while we're filming, please fill in your driveway because you don't want this gaping black hole. But I know that a lot of them have come up with really brilliant creative solutions of how they can, one person had them operate like curtains to cover the garage door. Another person, sometimes people do the arches or whatnot, but the more filled in, the better. But it is a big distinction between displays for everyday life and displays for the show.
Very cool. Yeah, that's something that, yeah, you watch the show, that their driveways, with the exception maybe of a couple that kind of, it seems like I remember a couple that weren't filled in, but that's a great show. Except, I mean, it's a TV show. So you want as much eye candy as possible, I would reckon. But how many people a year, like, hey, I've seen the show, I want to be on the show. How many people legitimately take that step to apply to be on the show?
We have thousands and thousands either nominated or apply, right? So there's a lot of just nominations of, say, some random person in your neighborhood loves your display and will send in an obscure address or name, and we have to hunt down and Google and try to figure it out. And then there's also hundreds of people who apply. So the other thing too is we keep a long Rolodex. And so maybe you didn't apply this year, but we know you applied 2 years ago and we will follow back up with you. So, the pool of applicants is bigger and bigger every year.
I think what you just did by answering that question is you just told 1,000 people or however many wind up watching this video, like, what? I think this is going to be our last year. Well, you remember when Felicia was on Christmas on Crestline, she says she may call you again in 2 years. All right, we'll do it another year. I think you just prolonged a lot of people's decoration times. That's awesome. So what's the time frame? Somebody sends in their application, you watch it, you research it, you say, okay, this is one I want. Everything works out. Do you need to get approval? What's the time frame to the time they send in the submission to the time you're there filming?
Yeah. So if someone applies, which they can apply all year long, we have our website always up. We will start to look at submissions in December. And so in December, we'll start looking through, we have like a mini casting session, a winter casting session where we'll start looking at applicants. And the most important thing we will do during December is make sure that you are taking video of your house. Because if we don't have good video and we need horizontal video, we can't use any of this portrait mode. But if we have good video, then we can really consider you in the summer when we do full casting. And so the main objective in winter is just to get people to film their displays. Then we will come back, we take a hiatus and we come back in the summer and we'll reach out to people, we'll do interviews, we'll get more footage, we'll find out their backstory, we'll write up things and pitch them to the network. So it's like a two-prong approach. And we generally can't make commitments to anyone until about August, because that's generally when we find out from ABC that we are 100% go for that upcoming year.
Now, when you say good video, can you define good video? Do you just mean horizontal 16:9, or do you mean, hey, get a close up of this, or take a wide shot, or see what we want to see from your roof, or what do you mean by good?
Yeah, so usable video can be many things. It definitely needs to be horizontal 16:9, but also we like variety. So we need establishing wide shots where we can see the whole thing in one view, maybe from across the street. Or if they happen to have drones or know someone who has a drone, that's great too. But we also need detail shots, walking shots, and so we send a whole checklist to people who are applying so that they can figure out what they need. If we've seen their video, we'll give them feedback of what additional we need. And we just developed a little page that we're putting on the website that has a tutorial on how to film your display.
Very cool. That'll come in handy. Getting a couple questions from the viewers. We're gonna knock out here real quick. Carl is in New. This is Carl from Kiwi Christmas. Carl is in New Zealand. He says, Charlie, can you ask her how many Ferris wheels she's seen over the past 10 years? And Carl does make his own Ferris wheels for his Christmas light display.
Hi, Charles. And we would love to film in New Zealand sometime if we ever go international. So we have seen so many Ferris wheels over the years. What I love to see is that they're usually homemade, they're home tooled and retooled, and they're always a little different. And that to me is really exciting, and it keeps it interesting because they're never the same.
Carl makes his out of, I believe, PVC piping, and he calls it the teddy bear Ferris wheel. It's all filled with stuffed animals and stuff. And I think that you just answered Heather's question. Heather's asking if you're thinking about expanding this to any other countries, but not yet. Is that what you're saying?
We've definitely thought about it and have been interested in it. It's just a matter of many things. And of course, this unfortunate COVID has not made it easier to expand, but maybe in the future. We are going into a new decade, and we're always looking at ways to keep it interesting.
Now, one question I got from my Patreon supporters is they wanted to know, once upon a time, you did a neighborhood session, a neighborhood show. Is there any thoughts of bringing back another neighborhood show? Or one point in time, there was the great Halloween light fright, if memory serves. Any thought about bringing those back, or any other spinoffs or anything?
Yeah, the fright fight. So we did a neighborhoods special. We did a neighbors special where it's just two houses next to each other, and fright fight. It is possible we could do neighbors or neighborhoods again. The advancement in filming technology would make, especially with drones, would make neighborhoods easier now. So that's something that we've kept on our radar. And if you know great neighborhoods, you can absolutely nominate them on our site. As far as Fright Fight, we love that show, and we would love to bring attention to home haunts again. It has just been a challenge to find airtime because unfortunately that time of year is when networks like to do sitcoms and things like that. So we just, and there's sports and competing with football. So it's just been a matter of logistics, but we're hopeful someday it'll come back.
I never even thought about football. Yeah, you're right. Rob here asks, have you ever thought about expanding the show to more weeks, to include a couple more weeks of episodes?
We are always ready to offer more. But once again, it comes down to just limited airtime and the way ABC wants to program their holiday specials. Believe it or not everyone is like us, and not everyone wants to see Christmas for so many weeks. I think we are a special breed, and I love us for that. But there is a lot of the population that doesn't want more than 3 or 4 weeks of Christmas, unfortunately.
Well, we don't like that population of America. Ryan says he's late to tuning in. But can you ask, when do you guys film? I know at one point in time you used to film earlier, maybe in the fall. Now that's kind of changed. Is that right?
Yeah. So we used to have to ask people to put up their displays months and months and months in advance. In the heat of summer, it was awful. And so as soon as ABC had the confidence in us to green light 2 years back to back, we were able to get a year ahead. That was seasons 5 and 6. And so now we film in November for the following December. So what you'll see this Christmas, we filmed in 2021, November of 2021. And that's what we have to do in order to not ask our families to film with us in the heat of summer, which was just very unfair and not appealing.
Yeah, all the folks who come, you'll see them, and they're all wearing shorts. You're like, oh, they must be from California or someone. Nope, they're Oklahoma. What? In shorts? That was always funny.
Yeah. I mean, I will say though, a lot of people are still wearing shorts even in colder weather. It's just a lot of hard work. It's a lot of hard work.
Yeah. So some of the things that have been on the show have become not viral. Viral is the wrong word, but they become sensations and kind of must-haves props amongst Christmas light enthusiasts. The Peace Family Peace Stakes come to mind. Has there been any prop on the show that you're surprised that caught on and more hobbyists are making something that they've seen primarily on the Great Christmas Light Fight?
I'm not surprised because I think everything that's caught on has been completely worthy. I think another example is like decor. That is, once we saw it, we're like, oh, this is going to be everywhere because it looks just as good in the day. There's so many unique things. You know, I know Evelyn Quintero, who did the Peaceful Meadow, who 3D pen makes her special items like carrots or flowers. That's really starting to go everywhere. So we're so grateful to be a part of this amazing culture that's constantly innovating. And if we can just bring light to these innovators, which are you guys, you know, we're not inventing anything. We're just giving you a platform to share it with the world. And we love that.
That's awesome. Is there anything that kind of remains me? Denisha here says, I love the show. My granddaughter binge watched this, which kind of leads me to the next question. Is there any fun facts about the show you can share with us? Anything like, this is a great thing. No one knows about it, but this is awesome about the show. Any fun facts you can tell us?
Yeah. Okay. A few come to mind. One, it takes a Santa's village. There are over 200 staff members and crew members who work every season all over the country to put this together, behind the scenes in every which way. So big shout out to our amazing crew. And then also, the funny thing that a lot of people don't realize is this idea came from ABC. They had the brilliant idea. They noticed that Christmas lights were trending, and so they came to Fremantle, who makes a lot of game shows, and they partnered together for this. And they brought on Brady Connell, who is the showrunner, one of our EPs, and he brought on myself and Max, and we've been on the whole time, the three of us. And that first season, we were tasked with figuring out how do we make Christmas lights a game show? Like, how do we make it? But we want it to feel Christmas. We don't want it to feel like rough competition. Like, how do we make this balance? And when I was brought on, the initial idea was to actually do it on a stage where people had to build live their Christmas displays against each other. And it just felt too competitive. And as we all know, there's too much hard work that goes in. We would never see these amazing products in that type of time frame. So it was even supposed to have a big like finale where like bracket style and people would be in Times Square like doing something, and it just wasn't working. And so luckily we put our heads together and came up with the format that you know and love. And we feel really happy that we took a lot of the competition edge out of it and we made it something more wholesome that everyone can enjoy.
I think wholesome is the accurate word to describe the show. It's wholesome. It's entertaining. It can give you ideas. I mean, I think everyone in the niche watches this show, but you talk about the crew, and Terry brings up a good question here. What does the show do when a person's display is on a busy road where the judges usually drive up and get out and all the folks are standing in the street? What do you do in that case?
Yeah, so those, we have quite a few of those each season, and it is complicated. We often work with the local county or city or what have you to shut down the roads if necessary, or at least a shoulder of the road, to create a safe workspace for our crew and for the families. And as far as crowds, that was always an issue. Since COVID, we actually don't really have crowds anymore. I don't know if people have noticed that. And it's something that we're talking about. Do we bring that back or not? And we'll have to figure out where time takes us. But we always work with all the local authorities to make sure it's a safe filming environment. We never go rogue. We always make sure we have the support of like the police or whatever.
That's funny. The Christmas folks have gone rogue. Get them out of town. Stacy has a good question here. Are there any issues ever with copywritten music? Like, this is my best song. This is my best thing. I want to put it on. Like, yeah, we can't get the rights. Does that ever happen?
Yeah, so we have a pretty intensive welcome packet we give all of our contestants that tells them what we can and can't show. We're lucky that we can show things from Disney, but not in every context. There are rules. And we try actively every season to reach out to other companies, other characters, and get them on board with us showing. Like ABC is very welcoming to anyone. You know, we would have Grinch if we could, but unfortunately we can't, for example. So we try to warn our contestants as early as possible about what is allowed or not. And it's not really for our taste, it's just, you know, to make sure no one gets sued for copyright infringement. So we try to make sure that everyone plays it safe, but we use the maximum amount of display that the family already has.
You talk about Disney, and Rob has a good question. What about, is there ever been any talk about a spinoff, or just like, hey, let's take this over to Disney Plus and let's make an entire whatever season out of it? Is there ever been a talk about doing that, or any expansions or anything on that end?
Yeah, there's been a lot of conversations and many thoughts. And I think that the landscape for Disney Plus and Hulu, and even Freeform was constantly changing. You know, that's changed over the years. So we are always thinking about new ways to bring more Christmas.
Are there any misconceptions about the show that are out there, or any stereotypes that are wrong? You're like, hey, this, we don't do this. Everybody thinks we do this. We don't do this. Is there anything like that you could talk about?
Yeah. One thing I hear a lot is people who do traditional Christmas always tell us, like the static displays, say blow molds or whatnot. They say, oh, we would never win or be chosen because we don't have like the blinky, flashy lights. We don't do synchronized. And that's just wrong, because if you watch the show, we have a good balance. And at the same time, I hear on the other end, a lot of pixel displays feel like we don't have enough pixel winners. And I would say that's also wrong, because we actually, if you go back and look through the history of our show in 10 years, it is close to 50-50 on synchronized versus non-synchronized winners. It's not exactly 50-50. Every year is different, and the judges freely, totally make the decisions by themselves. But I am very proud of how many pixel winners there are. So please do not get discouraged. And in fact, in that vein, without giving away too much, there's lots to look forward to this season.
Are you casting for your 10th, or what? Are you casting right now?
We have already filmed our 10th season that'll air this winter.
Right.
We are actively casting for season 11. So please feel free to go to lightfightcasting.com and apply or nominate. And yeah, we are looking for amazing, unique, different displays, things that we've never seen before.
Lightfightcasting.com, is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, very cool. Now, one thing about me, just as far as the show goes, I can't remember if it was the first winner or one of the first winners was a static, and he had like plexiglass or something over his garage and like Disney characters or something inside. My favorite on the show have always been the static displays. And you're not a judge, so I can ask you this: what are your personal favorite shows? Are they the pixel? Are they the AC lights? Are they the static? What do you prefer? Just you're driving down the street in your hometown. Oh, that's a nice display. I like that. Do you have a preference yourself?
You know, my preference has changed over the years. I think I was really moved by the traditional hand-drawn, like wood cutout displays when we first started. I think it was season 2. Weaver in the Bay Area had the most amazing, I had never seen anything like that. But over the years, my tastes definitely have changed. I had a phase where I was really into like 1 or 2 colors or 3 colors, and just having like very defined color palettes, especially all white. I love that. That's what I do on my home. I would say that Evelyn Quintero did something so unique and different. Her Peaceful Meadow, that was really a favorite of mine. And this season coming up, my favorite one is a pixel display. It is out of this world, so beautiful and unique, and I cannot wait for everyone to see it.
Very nice. That leads me to my next question, and you just touched on it. Rob here's touched on a little bit. He says he's actually helping somebody that might be on the show. Apparently, you guys have already interviewed whoever his buddy is. But what do we have planned for the upcoming season that you could talk about? You've already filmed it. It's just us. It's okay. Is there any? So you got a pixel show that's a wowing moment. Yeah. Anything else?
We have so many wows. And by the way, it's as soon as I said favorite, I was like, oh, those are my children. They're all my children. I love all of them. But So we have some really beautiful, small but dense homes that are in the center of a city. And a lot of people don't realize that we do cast homes in all regions and locations. And sometimes they're very tiny, but we make them look huge with our cameras. We also have two very new twists on gingerbread houses, things you've never seen before. So that's exciting. We have bigger custom inflatables than you've ever seen on the show before. And some really unique and interesting storytelling where, similar to what David Peace had done, like they take them on a journey throughout the display with a narrative. And so that's another thing to look forward to.
You say you take small houses and make them look huge. What I hear you saying is the camera adds 100,000 lights. That's what I hear you saying out of that.
Yeah, the stereotype's true.
Terry has a good question here. How does the show determine which 4 displays are grouped together for one episode?
Yeah, so what we do is we first just pick what we feel are our 24 most unique, diverse, different in every sense of the word diverse, right? So like different types of displays, different looks of displays, different parts of the country, different family groupings, different dynamics, stories, etc. So we'll pick the best 24, and then from there we pair them in a way that each episode has the most distinct elements possible. So for example, we wouldn't want to put two very traditional pixels in the same episode, because to a viewer that's just the same thing. So we really want it to be apples to oranges in every episode.
So Stacy here says, if you're on the show, can you request one of the 2 judges, or are they randomly assigned? That's a good question. How do you pick which judge is on which episode?
It is purely logistics. So we have to send them all over the country. We film, 24 houses in such a short period of time, like about 5 weeks. So it's just about regions. So we'll kind of assign one judge to one region at one point in time, and that's how it is. Unfortunately, we don't take requests.
Okay. I'm guessing Stacy there has a favorite amongst the judges.
I'm sure they're both lovely and great.
Steve says, what does the show look for as far as display? Is there one thing not having enough of to get on the show? You kind of touched on that a little bit, like the driveway. You need to fill the driveway in. Is there anything else you would mention or talk to?
Density is really important. So you'll see the displays that look the most vibrant on our show are the ones that are dense. And that could be on the house, in the yard, or both. The displays that are really spread out, like the big farm displays, they're much harder to film, and it's harder to capture the magic on camera versus in person. So I highly suggest everyone thinks about condensing. That's a big one. And then, like I said, just be true to yourself, go extreme in whichever direction feels right for you, whatever your theme, your color palette, your specialty, like lean into what makes you unique.
Very cool. I watched you on a kind of an interview like we're doing what you did with the Christmas Expo a few years ago. That is going on next week, the Christmas Expo. Is that something you guys plan on attending, or do you guys ever attend the Expo or anything like that?
We try to attend the Expo each year, and we're starting to go to other conventions as well. So this year, Jamie Schaefer, one of our amazing casting associates, is going to be there to recruit. So you can look for him and talk to him if you have questions about applying. And hopefully, Brady Connell, our showrunner, will be attending the panel to discuss all things like Fight. I think that is up in the air at the moment because he's actively filming another show, but fingers crossed he will be there again.
Gotcha. Now, that's a good question. When you work on the Great Christmas Light Fight, how much time does that actually take of your personal time? Is it something you work on for 3 months or 6 months or 2 weeks now, then 3 weeks later because there's a break, or how does that work out?
Yeah, so it's really interesting. For the crew, it's kind of all at once for anywhere from 5 weeks to say 3 months. For the executive producers and some of the other higher level producers, we are on it for 4 or 5 full months. But then we also are constantly checking in and making sure the train is staying running during casting and in the in-between times to make sure that casting happens on time. So it's one of those rare shows where we don't really get much of a break, but we love it, and so we keep doing it even in our downtime.
So, for those that are ignorant like myself, and I have no idea what the answer to this question could even be, in a nutshell, what does an executive producer do? I don't know.
Yeah, okay. So, so there's many types of producers, and they all have important specialties. And so on our show, we have field producers who are the ones who are out there in charge of the individual filmings at the location. We have other producers who handle the budget, other producers who handle logistics. Um, uh, Christina is one of our amazing producers who handles everything clearance. So she talks to you guys about like music and wardrobe and what characters are allowed or not allowed. We have producers who are in charge of editing. The executive producers are above all that in the sense that, I mean, we're not above anything, but we oversee, that's the better word, we oversee everything to make sure that all of those different branches, right, and the crew members and the audio guys and the everyone is working together, you know, synchronized to a common goal with, say, budget and logistics and you know, content in mind, and making sure that we have a positive experience. So me and sorry, that was a very long explanation. I
No, you're good.
particularly oversee casting the contestants and making sure they have a good experience the whole way through. And then I also like to pop in on the filming and make sure that everything's going smoothly there.
Very cool. Stacy here has a pretty good question. Do the contestants find out they won the episode in the same year they filmed? So since you filmed last year for this season's done and gone, do they find out already and just they aren't allowed to tell, or how does that work?
Yeah, so this is one of the hard things about being in advance. They have to keep a very difficult secret for an entire year. Yeah. So don't put that extra pressure on your friend. Please don't do it because it's hard for them and they don't want to get in trouble and they don't want to ruin the surprise either. They want everyone to tune in and root for them.
That's a good question. That's a good answer. Is yeah, they do find out. They just can't shouldn't say anything.
Yeah.
That'd be difficult. Yeah, you'd have to like not have any parties, not have any friends. Birthday's canceled this year. Talk to me next Christmas.
Yeah.
Um, Steve here as a show. Well, I don't think you've had. Well, I don't think you have. Have you been to every state?
No, we are actively trying to go to some states that we've never been to before, like New Mexico. If you know of good displays in New Mexico, please send them our way. Also, the northeastern states like Maine, I believe New Hampshire. There's a few up there that we're still kind of working towards. So please send your recommendations.
Now, Carl here says, "Do you like walk around, interactive, or totally visual displays? What works best for the show, filming wise?"
Um, Everything works well for the show. We love variety. Like that's the big thing I keep saying over and over again. But I will say that the more you engage your community, it's probably more exciting for them, right? And that translates on camera. So I think the more you can engage people in whether it's through storytelling or through it being immersive or hands-on or you have a donation drive or whatever, I think the more you engage your community, the more even us as viewers will feel engaged with your display.
Very cool. For me, the for the folks who win, they can't tell anybody. The hard part I would have would be hiding that trophy. I'm like, I would want that trophy out. Like, nope, put it in the closet, put a towel over it. Can't get it out there. But that
Yeah,
trophy's awesome. I do like the trophy. Trophy's pretty cool.
it is amazing. And that was a very big feat. The first season, we actually had them as snow globes too. So they didn't just light up, they were snow globes. And it was a
Yes.
complete disaster and they kept breaking and leaking. So that's a story that no one probably knows.
Yeah, snow globes I found should not be stored in attics or stored outside because water evaporates, folks. It
Yeah.
does. You wind up with a shell and brown stuff inside. Yeah, snow globes are no good. Let's see here. Terry says the winners always seem to get to do to winners always seem to get dressed to receive the award when the judges comes back. Oh, look at they act surprised. So do they know that people are coming? Like, hey, if you win, it's going to be on this date and time. Be prepared, or how does that go?
So I don't want to give away too many secrets because we are trying to actively surprise them. But what I will say is 85% of the contestants are surprised. We do it on a day where we're filming other things, so they just don't know. And yeah, I would say some people probably figured it out, but they're never 100% sure until they see the judge. So we love to surprise them, and we go out of our way to keep the moment of surprise.
Yeah, surprises are the best. I love surprises. I don't know why people don't like surprises. The red car.
Yeah.
Do you call ahead and say, "Hey, we're gonna be in Mesa, Arizona. Call Mesa, Arizona Car Club," or how do you guys get the red car in every city?
So it's a lot of work. One of our amazing coordinators starts on that very early, and we just so everyone knows, we contact red cars in every single city. So if you hear that a red car in your neighborhood was contacted, it doesn't mean that you won. It just means that we're prepared in case you win. So I've had people get their hopes up because they heard, their neighbor got contacted for a red car or whatever. But yeah, the red car is just such an iconic part of the show. We love that so much, and we're so grateful that the viewers seem to like it too.
Very cool. Yeah, yeah. And I heard that. I stole that question from the last show you were on with the expo. I remember he asked that, but I couldn't remember what the answer was. But yeah, red car is cool. Sometimes it's a Chevy. Sometimes it's who knows. It's neat. Can't get a sleigh in there probably running down the street. So very cool. Do you have any questions for any of the people in here? There's a lot of people in here who do big things. Is there anything? My point is, let me reword that question. Is there anything you wish you would see that you have not seen? Like, hey, I would really like someone to parachute down in a Santa suit on top of the roof with streaming Christmas lights. Is there anything I wish somebody would do this? Have you ever had that kind of thought or moment?
Yeah, I think what I'd really love to see is more unique themes. Themes resonate really well, especially if they're organic to your story. And I know I've said this so many times, but for example, if you are a professional train conductor, and we all know Christmas trains are like a thing, like it would be great to see you push that towards your display, right? You could have little train sets, you could make a giant train set, you could dress up as a conductor, whatever. And this is only to kind of further emphasize what makes you unique and special and stand out. So I highly suggest, like, if you have a theme, lean into it all the way. I'm not going to say everyone should do crazy stunts like jumping on the roof, like what you suggested. I think put your energy towards your display. Put your energy towards your display. That's where it really matters.
And you just do residential, right? Steven here is asking about amusement park Christmas displays, but is there, like, if someone's in an apartment or a condo, does it have to be a home?
Um, we would love to see applicants that have like apartments or condos, and then we can see if we can create a full episode. So far, it doesn't really feel fair to pair someone who has like a home with land
Right.
against an apartment. That doesn't feel right. But if we had
Yeah.
more nominations, we would definitely consider it. And to go back to your other question, we do a heavyweights special. We haven't done it the past 2 years during COVID, but we are hoping that will return. And heavyweights are professional displays that are not on homes. And so that just really is like a whole other class that we don't feel comfortable pairing with a home, right? So we hope to have more of those, and that will give us some big, unique, different displays that we haven't seen in a few years.
One tech that is it's coming up, and it's something I've actually kind of thought about switching to, just simply because you can, like, for me, I do an AC show, and I start hanging lights September 15th or the weekend thereafter every year, and usually get done the weekend of Thanksgiving. And I don't have near as elaborate as displays as many people in the chat here today. But mapping, are you familiar with computer mapping and home mapping, projection mapping at all?
Yeah, we actually had a projection mapping display season 2 of the Belcher family in Texas, and we haven't really had too much of that yet since. I think we've had maybe one or two like little features, but we would love to see more computer mapping. We'd love to see more drones. We'd love to see all of the new technology. Like, let's help you premiere that on our show. If you have interesting, different technology we've never seen, we are all about it.
Now, Carl's asking, what sort of budget does the film have? But if someone says, "Hey, thank you for letting me be on the show. I really want this. Can I have $10,000 to buy this stuff for the show?" That they do their own show. You guys don't supplement them at all, do you?
Yeah, no, so this is more documentary
Yeah,
style. So
yeah,
we are casting everyone as they are, and then we just document it. We definitely encourage you to go a little extra if you're going to be on TV, but that is completely up
right.
to everyone's capabilities. I think it would just be a different show if we started meddling with people's displays. We really don't want to do that.
Yeah, I agree. It's their it's kind of an art form. Everybody does their own thing. They express themselves. It's it's really kind of an art form. You talk about themes. I love a theme show myself. I don't have a theme, but I do love it when other people do it. Um, let's see here. What is see? Carl says carnival theme for me. Oh yeah, he does a carnival theme. He's building a roller coaster right now.
Nice.
Very cool. Well, unless somebody has any questions, we're 45 minutes in. I think we're going to wrap it up here a little bit. If anybody has any questions, get them in fast and furious. We've monopolized your time. Thank you so much for making yourself available to the show. It is appreciated. Everybody was kind of clamoring for you. You mentioned trains earlier. We have a guy who does trains. That's all he does as a hobby. If you were in here, he would have loved your answer. And he watches his back. I'm certain he'll love it again. So thank you so much for making yourself available to us today. It's awesome.
Thank you so much for having me. And I just want everyone to know that everyone on our casting team is very approachable. If you are interested, but you're not sure you're quite there yet, or you have questions or you have a hesitancy, like reach out, talk to us. We're really willing to talk through all questions, comments, and concerns. We develop relationships with families over the years. We've had some families that we talked to for 6 years before they're finally on the show. So we are welcoming and here to support this community. Like without you, there isn't us, and and we think we help feed the community. So let's support each other.
Steve came in with a very quick last question. Has there ever been any thought about doing a non-winners second chance show?
Yeah, I was wondering if someone would ask. I actually was lobbying pretty hard for that, just because I'm so personally invested in all my contestants that I'd love to see them have a second chance. Right now, I there just isn't quite an appetite. There's so much new out there that we haven't gone that direction. However, I am keeping tabs of all of my contestants and staying in touch with them, and maybe someday that will happen. One thing that might be more likely is if home displays go professional and leave the home, we might be more likely to see them come back as a heavyweight. So that is also an option.
Very cool. I guess we'll probably wrap this up then, since no one else is coming in with any more questions. Thank you so much, guys, for coming in and chatting. Anybody who watches the rewatch of this, Felicia, can you give them the application website one more time?
Absolutely. So it is lightfightcasting.com. And we are casting early this season. So you want to get in applications right away, like ASAP, if you want to be considered for this winter. So that is lightfightcasting.com.
All right, folks. Hey, thank you so much, guys. I'm Charlie, and she's Felicia, and we'll see you in the next episode.